Alexander Leonovich. Mr. President, they say there is our Belarusian here. On our approach. And for me it is also important, we have started to build a national historical. That's why it's also important for us to see. As for the national special status, it is included as a strategic institution of the direction. Why strategic? Because we are dealing with issues of national identity, questions of who are we. Thinking. It's important to us. Here in the global world, this hall is dedicated to the Omani people. It's called the Hall of the People. Mom's story is a maritime story that is related to maritime history. The first boats were not built 8,000 years ago, and the first ships appeared 4,500 years ago. They looked like a tank, just on the scale, it was 12 to 15 meters. And cover the oil. Not to be. Water was seeping in. On such ships, the First Nations sailed already had connections with India, with Iran, Spotemi, and modern Somalia. That's 4,500 years ago. When we talk about the nation and identity in the modern concept, we are talking about the Arab personality. The first settlers were Arabs. They emigrated from the north of the Lenin district of Tugum, from Tugum. From the north of Lenin, the first Arabs, the ancestors of Eglarovali to the north of Haman. And these items are connected. That is, the settlement fort descended from the south to the north. We are still sporting copper, and these tiles that adorn this hall, there it is taken from the first deposit. They broke it. Well, it looks so difficult, and it looks so difficult. That is, this. Here it was exported to this kind of copper. Then it was processed, and such items were obtained. Even when we talk about the issue of faith, we not only discuss spiritual aspects, but also try to show how it influenced not only the art of the expression of the Aman man, for example, here we see the motives where the drawing is depicted. Because historically, in the context of faith, what is the spiritual meaning? We also talk about the importance of the Arabic language, writing, printing, expressing yourself in writing usually. Writing as an art. This hall is dedicated to bananas and externally. The outside world. Here we have Europe. This evening is dedicated to China. Our relations with China and the report are 1,500 years old. 100 years ago in Islam, the first merchants from Zaman reached China during the Tang dynasty. And take these ones. In the middle of the 20th century, Aman was the first slave state to establish ties with Japan, and the first embassy was sent in 1888 year. And these were the first gifts of the Japanese Emperor, Sultan of Oman. In addition to the items, there is also an interactive mint in almost every hall.
Практически в каждом зале существует интерактивный монетный двор.
All Ponad Zanzibar and palaces, some of them have been preserved.
Некоторые из них сохранились.
And the Omani Empire lasted from modern Somalia to the north of Mozambique in the south.
Мозамбика на юге.
That is, the coast. The coast, and from the Comoros, including Mauritius, which is French territory now, to eastern Congo.
До Восточной Конго.
This is Rwanda, Burundi. Our museum is parallel to the palace.
Дворцу церемониальному.
The ceremonial palace stands on the territory of the first palace of the dynasty in Maskek.
Дворца династии в Маскате.
It was built in 1800.
Году.
A symbol of our independence as a nation, political independence.
Независимости.
And why was this place made for the National Museum?
Национального музея.
Because the vision of the lesser sultan, the late sultan, is a national museum.
Национальный музей.
It is a symbol of independence, Aman identity, how we think and who we are.
Как мы мыслим и кто мы.
And here we have items of demolition made of crystal was not.
Из хрусталя не было.
The 2010th year has found its own.
Вот. Нашел свое достоинство.
We have a castle dedicated to intangible heritage. This, yes, this is the hero city of Nakat. Terminally, Saint Ivan, as if by parrots, built the Almirante formation of the National Museum, only with this part.
Национальный музей. Но национальный музей не является только этой частью.
We have 9 more sites in the historic city. We include historical palaces and estates of the dynasty, which we have several options.
У нас несколько вариантов.
With symbols everywhere. Thank you. To you as a Belarusian. Removed. Thank you. This is just a Belarusian Muslim book. As a specialist, it will be suitable in 3 languages.
Подойдет на 3 языках.
Well, this is Belarus. Yes, not in the mosque. That's fine. Thank you very much.
Negotiations in the East are always very unusual for us, in a format that is as non-public as possible. I would still like to know what it was possible to negotiate with Sultan Roman.
Well, first of all, the peculiarity of negotiations is not new to me. It is not the first year that I have been cooperating with the Arab world, including Oman. I think I was here about 15 or 17 years ago. And what is the value? They say it's bad that the president has been in power for a long time. The current sultan met me then, accompanied me and so on. Therefore, we are already familiar with him, and it was easy for us to negotiate. Well, you know the situation around Belarus, including Russia. These crazy sanctions and stuff. Therefore, we don't really talk about where we meet, with whom we meet, and what agreements we have reached. I am satisfied that the Sultan himself has proposed strategic areas of cooperation. It is very important for us that we determine the point. Well, port may be something else. We'll watch it tomorrow. And firm, there came our technologies, which are not needed in the OMA. Therefore, we will use Belarusian technologies to create a joint venture here, and we will move west, east and north from here. From the Indian Ocean, selling our goods. A very good proposal was made by the Sultan to create a hub here, such a center of Belarusian goods. And yesterday, I honestly told him that we have learned to produce a lot of things. Trading is not very good yet. Well, they promised to help us in this regard. In short, there were no closed topics at all. Oman has a huge interest in Belarus. Well, we probably haven't been very active here. Therefore, by trading goods first, we are ready to create a joint venture here and expand production here and trade together along the way. This applies to very, very many products and goods. I say again, we don't talk about this publicly for certain reasons, but we were so strategically determined by the Sultan of Oman. But now we are going to meet with him about such a working environment, again without the media. And we will talk about specific programs and specific projects. They have already been worked out. We will create an intergovernmental so-called commission or committee, they call it, and we will develop a roadmap, a plan. Next year, the Sultan promised to come to Belarus. Russia to visit these northern countries. And by that time we will have worked out a roadmap, and will not only wait for its approval there, but we will also do something practically. Right now, I am going to meet with the Sultan now, and we will determine several specific areas of our actions, not cooperation. And we will start doing this before he comes to us. Therefore, you understand why there is a certain closeness of these relations. But I have already said that the situation has developed so that in the summer, early spring, early autumn, we were more engaged in the land and will ensure food security. And everyone attributed all visits to this time. Therefore, there is no time to deal with elections. We need to implement the plan of our visits. And tomorrow we will look at the ports. Therefore, this is not an easy program for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.